Hello, welcome back and welcome to an all new round of speed reviews. So June was actually pretty busy. May was super quiet and then June was super busy, and I know we only have about a month or two left until those exciting fall and holiday launches start, so I'm very excited. But I did review 20 new products in the month of June. In complete fairness, some of these are from the very tail end of May, and I'm really sad because some of my favorite brands are in the bottom this month. So I'm really sad about that. But unfortunately, not everyone is perfect all the time. So let's just hop right into it. Coming in at number 20 is from NARS. And this is a quad I was really excited to get my hands on. I believe right now it's only available in Europe and NARS Canada. So I was really excited to be early on reviewing this one, but this is their Osaka quad from their With Love collection. They did also release a blush and their light reflecting powder in limited edition packaging, and this is what the palette looked like. So in the very early promo photos, I thought, I don't think I'll review that one. It looks kind of boring. It's really just not any different than what they already have, and they look like baked chili formulas. But then I saw it was available, and next thing I know, I'm ordering it. So this quad was a little bit unique too because it is made in Italy, whereas a lot of their eyeshadows are predominantly made in Canada. So I was really intrigued by that. Italy tends to do really good things when it comes to makeup. This, unfortunately, I just really don't love this quad. I don't love a baked gelée formula for the eyes. I much prefer a pressed powder. I thought this was just very, very light. I don't think a lot of skin tones are going to get much use out of this. And quite honestly, this is basically just 3 shades of Dusty Rose and a more nude tone shade. Even the shimmer is quite subtle. I really don't love this quad. I've been trying to like it. I've been trying to find color variations that I like more, but unfortunately I just can't make myself love this one. I don't think it's their best formula. I don't think it's their best color story. I think they do some really amazing things, especially when it comes to eyeshadows. They do have one of my favorite formulas, but unfortunately this just isn't the one for me. At number 19, we have Natasha Denona. So she did come out with her Golden collection this month, and one of the products I picked up was the Golden Glimmer Gloss. So this is basically just a clear lip gloss with little golden reflex. It feels more like an oil on the lips, which is really nice because it's not at all sticky. The thing is that it's a plumping gloss, which I did know going in, and that doesn't bother me. I mean, I don't love a super painful gloss, but I don't mind a slight plumping effect. What I don't like about this one is that when I put it on, it looks nice. It's not the shiniest gloss I own, but it's definitely got some shine. It does look pretty, but the issue, I believe, lies with the plumping ingredients. They make the area around my lips look really red and puffy, and that shows through even when I have my makeup on. So it kind of looks like I just missed that area with my makeup, or it looks like my makeup is rubbed off. And I just don't like that. I don't think it looks pretty at all. So I don't love this. Eventually that irritation does go down, but I just really don't like that effect, especially when I have more plumping glosses that don't do that. I don't really know why this one has to do that. I don't know if everyone's had that experience or if it's just me, but I just didn't like that. So I put this one near the bottom. Coming in at number 18 is one I tried very recently, but I've been trying it quite consistently, trying to get my thoughts. So this is the Charlotte Tilbury Unreal Skin Sheer Glow Tint Hydrating Foundation Stick. I have the shade 1. I just really didn't love this the most. So the easiest way to describe this product is that it is like the Hollywood Flawless Filter in stick form. That is essentially what it does. It gives the skin a super glowy finish. It gives a very sheer coverage, which is what it says it does. It's just that I was expecting a little bit more foundation and a little bit less Hollywood Flawless Filter. So I just find this to be way, way too shiny, and the first time I put it on, I really did not like it at all. So I found the best way for me to use this is to apply it to the face, but then spot conceal the areas where I want a little extra coverage, and then go in with powder in all the areas that I don't want to be glowy. And that seems to really work quite well for me, but like I said, it was a bit of a learning curve trying to figure out how to wear this product in a way that I like it in a way that I enjoy it. I do have a full day wear test with this one up, and I kind of go through all of this. I just didn't love the way that it made me so intensely glowy. It was just way too much, and I don't love that for the price point. It's a Charlotte Tilbury foundation, so it's not an affordable foundation by any means, and I just found that for a product that is this expensive, that costs this much, I shouldn't have to make it work, if that makes sense. I do think that some people will really, really love this. I think if you have oily skin or if you have texture, I would stay away from this. This does enhance texture. This does enhance imperfections on the skin. And again, it is super glowy. So I think oily skin or textured skin is just, you're probably not going to like this. Normal skin, maybe, but again, I think you're gonna have to make a lot of the modifications that I do in order to make it look really pretty. I do think this is something that is going to work best for someone with dry skin or nearly perfect skin. I think you might like this, but if you have any of the other things I mentioned, maybe not. I do think it'll be a really nice lightweight product for the summer to help me pull myself together really quickly, get my makeup done really quickly, but I can't see myself using this all year long or on a daily basis the way I would my NARS Light Reflecting Foundation. Coming in at number 17 is from Natasha Denona, and this is the Skincare Infused Glow Beautifier. So this one came out a few months ago, but I ordered it at the same time as the High Glam Powder Foundation, and this is okay. So there's a few different ways you can use this. You can use this as a targeted highlighter, or you can mix it with the High-Gen Serum and put it all over the face. I don't have the High-Gen Serum, and mixing it with the highlight and putting it all over the face, that just doesn't seem like something I'm going to use. If that's the kind of effect I'm going for, I'm going to go for something a little easier like the Charlotte Tilbury Stick Foundation. So I kind of ordered this, one, because I like to review everything from Natasha Denona, but also because I thought it would be a really pretty targeted highlight, and it has a really interesting, very, very creamy texture, and does look really, really pretty in a swatch. That just looks absolutely stunning. And maybe I need to keep playing with it, but in my honest opinion, I just think it's too glittery when you use it as a targeted highlight. So I just really don't love it. I was terribly curious about the highlighters in the highlight palette she released with her Golden collection, but again, I would not have gotten a lot of use out of that palette, so I didn't pick it up, but the formulas looked so beautiful. Unfortunately, this is just not a favorite for me. I don't hate it, but there's definitely things I like a lot more. Coming in at number 16 is from Dior, and this is one of their Backstage Eye palettes in 003 Warm Essentials. So they already have a Warm Neutrals, but they did come out with a Warm Essentials palette as well. And this was kind of my first experience using one of these palettes, and the formula in here is actually quite unique. This is a rather thin formula. I find that the shimmers really don't have a ton of impact, but they do give a really pretty sheen to the lids. And I think the mattes are just very, very soft. And this color story itself is quite pretty. I do think this is a really nice palette for someone who wants more of a light wash of color. Just something very light and easy to wear, easy to pop on and get out the door. I think you'd really, really like this. This is a really nice formula because it's not going to enhance texture at all. Like I said, it's a very thin formula and the shimmers aren't overly shimmery or foiled, but they do give a beautiful sheen. So they're not going to enhance texture, but they are just going to give, like I said, that nice sheen to the lids. So I do think this is a really nice formula. The color story is pretty. It's not my absolute favorite. I think that bright pop of coral in the center throws me a bit. I definitely do not think this is a bad palette. I think it's quite lovely. It's just that it's not always what I'm going for. I do tend to like just a little more impact on the eyes. And I know right now eyeshadow is allegedly not super trendy, but you know what? I'm always gonna love it, and I'm always gonna love a little something extra on the eyes. And I make no apologies for that. So this isn't necessarily my favorite product, but it's definitely not bad. Next, I have two very new products that I haven't really spoken about too much yet. I have been testing them out for the past week. I was gonna do a dedicated review, and then they just kind of came in so late and I got distracted by other things. So I didn't do a dedicated review, but I did talk about them briefly in my Q&A get ready with me video, and this is the Patrick Ta Major Glow Cream and Powder Light Reflecting Highlighter Duos. So I have two of them. I have My Love and I have Baby. So I picked up two shades, which I don't recommend doing just because they are very translucent. And Patrick Ta did say that in the initial promos for this product, but they are all very translucent. So you can see My Love is a very icy white and Baby is just a really pretty light pink. So I do think that My Love has quite a bit more impact. This is the one that I have on my cheeks today, and I think it looks really pretty. So you can use these, you can either use the powder, you can use the cream, or you can put the cream over the powder. I don't recommend putting the cream under the powder because I just don't find it applies very nicely that way. It just tends to break everything up and it just doesn't look that great. But when you put the powder on and then you dab the cream on top, it's like it melts everything right into the skin and it makes everything look very, very seamless. So I think it does look super, super beautiful when you do that. That being said, these aren't going to be the most absolutely blinding highlighters. So if that's what you're going for, maybe this isn't going to be a favorite formula. I think this is very, very pretty. I think this is the iciest, most blinding one that he has. All of the others, from what I've seen from other reviews and my experience with Baby, they are just a little bit more subtle, definitely just giving that sort of wet targeted highlight, which is perfectly fine if that's what you're going for. I will say the powders alone are very, very soft and there are glittery particles in the powder, so just keep that in mind. However, I find when you dab the cream on top, it's almost like it melts them because they just look so lovely. And then Baby is, like I said, this really light pink. I do think that these creams are very, very emollient, so I think if you're traveling with them, I wouldn't bring them with you if you're going somewhere very hot. I do think these need to be a little bit temperature controlled. They just feel very emollient and I feel like they're going to melt. And the powders are very soft, so I really wouldn't recommend traveling with these. And that's kind of the reason I did drop them down, because I can tell it's a finicky formula. I think the cream shades really are just very translucent. I think the powders have more pigment than anything, and they will give you a slightly different shift, but I just really don't think if you are purchasing these that you need to get more than one shade. I would stick with one. I mean, in Canadian dollars, these are $50 each. So you really just don't need more than one. Coming in at number 14 is from NARS. This is the St. Paul Devance Quad. So I reviewed this one at the same time as the other one. And we have another one somewhere in this ranking as well. So this one, at the end of my review, kind of came out on top as the favorite. I thought this was really, really pretty. When I first picked this up, I thought it was going to be such a comparison to the mini Biba palette. And it really wasn't as similar as I thought, but I was able to essentially find this exact color story in the I Need a Nude palette from Natasha Denona. So I really didn't need this palette at all. But I do think it's really pretty. It is their basic pressed powder formula. It's made in Canada. It is back to their usual formula for this quad and the other one. I really, really love their pressed powder mattes. I just find they're so silky and easy to work with. They blend themselves. They're just a beautiful, beautiful formula. So I really do recommend their eyeshadows. The shimmer here is definitely a very thin formula as well. It kind of gives that sparkling wet effect from Natasha Denona. It's what it reminded me of. This shade in particular actually reminds me quite a bit of Space Cowboy from Urban Decay. Like, it really doesn't have much of a base to it. It's just kind of that wet topper shade. It's very pretty, but like I said, I kind of found this in another palette, so I do think this color story is beautiful. I think it's easy to reach for. I think it's a fun little quad, but I just found some things that made me feel a little bit more excited. So coming in at number 13 is from Pat McGrath, and this is her Dramatique Mega Lip Pencil in Nude Venus. So she did launch these. I didn't do a dedicated review because I only picked up one shade. This is what the shade looks like. I think it's very pretty. It's actually what I'm wearing today. I like this. So this is, like I said, it's just a pencil. You can use it to line the lips, you can use it to fill in the lips. It kind of does everything. It's a 2-in-1. It does dry down on the lips, so it is quite matte, and it does wear a long time, which I absolutely love. I really have no complaints about this pencil. I was kind of comparing it to the NARS pencils in this type of format because NARS has a very similar product. I would say the Pat McGrath goes on a little bit more creamy, but dries down a little bit more matte, if that makes sense. So these ones last longer. I really do like these. I think these are lovely. If they're having a sale and you were curious about them, I think they're quite lovely. Coming in at number 12 is a bronzer I've really been enjoying, and this is from the Sephora collection, and this is their matte bronzer. This is in the shade 00 Sun Kissed Haze. I really like this. So I like the little embossment in the pan. I think that's really pretty. I really like this shade. This is a nice one if you have really fair skin because it's not too warm. It pulls a little bit warmer, but it's not too warm. It's beautiful. It's very lightweight. It is matte. So if you can't stand a shimmer or a sheen in your bronzer, you might really like this. This does also have a fragrance that I can't quite place. It kind of reminds me a little bit of the Gucci bronzer mixed with sunscreen. That's a terrible description, but that's kind of what it's reminding me of at the moment. But I do think this is a really nice bronzer. I've used it a lot. I think it's beautiful if you like a matte option, and if you're looking for one that isn't too pricey, but that is just really beautiful, easy to work with, very blendable. I think this is wonderful. So coming in at number 11 is from MAC, and this is one of their Locked Kiss bullet lipsticks. So MAC was having a sale at some point this month and I took advantage of it. So I have this one in the shade Mischief, which is like a really pretty peachy shade. So it just looks like this. It's just a really beautiful peachy nude shade, and I was intrigued by these by the Locked Kiss name. So the packaging itself is really quite beautiful. It's tall, it's slim, it's got this sort of chrome packaging. It smells really good. It's got that classic MAC lipstick scent. If you know what I'm talking about, I love that scent and it always takes me back and it's so nostalgic. I love the scent of these lipsticks. One thing that's a little bit annoying is that it actually is broken at the tube at the base, which is really annoying, so it does kind of rattle around. But I like that it's a nice slim lipstick so you can really get around the edges. It's not too big, but this is probably one of the most long wearing bullet lipsticks I have. Bullet lipsticks for me, even the matte ones, they last pretty well, but they're not the most long wearing. This is incredible. This really does lock in. So this does dry down matte, so it's going to have a very similar dry down to what I have on today, but this really will wear all day long. And it doesn't dry my lips out, it doesn't make them feel too dry or uncomfortable, it doesn't crack. It's a great lipstick. Coming in at number 10 is the last of the 3 NARS quads I reviewed, and this is the Co Wrong palette. This was probably the most unnecessary of the quads for me to pick up, but it's my favorite. It's an all matte brown palette. So I was able to essentially dupe this in my collection quite easily, but I love it. It's so handy that it's in this teeny tiny little quad. It can sit on my desk. I can reach for it whenever I just need a quick brown. I did that today. So I think I have this one in my crease today. So easy. The formulas, again, I love the NARS matte formula because they're just so silky and blendable. I love them. They're just so easy to work with. And like I said, I have this one in my crease today and it was perfect. I absolutely love this quad. I do think it's a staple. I think if you already have a bunch of all matte palettes in your collection, you do not need this. But if you're looking for a really simple one with the staple shades that you might reach for every day, this is a good one. I really like it. Coming in at number 9 is from Huda Beauty, and this is the blush filter. This is a really cute little cream blush. At first I wasn't going to pick this up, and then I was purchasing the Patrick Ta highlighter, so I thought let's just throw it in. This is a really cute little liquid blush. This has a really cute little doe foot. It's kind of shaped like a figure 8, but it really doesn't pick up too much product on the doe foot. And this actually blends out like a dream. So I have the shade Strawberry Cream, and I thought this shade was going to be a lot lighter than it was. And my first application with this was for a TikTok. I think I've also posted it to shorts. I put this on, and because I was just doing it for the video, I applied it directly to the face. And I got so much. It looked so intense right away, but the way it blended out was unbelievable. It blended out so easily. I was able to get it down to a very wearable shade, a very wearable blush look. It was so beautiful. I was scared for a minute, but I was able to get it where I want, and I absolutely loved it. I do wish I'd picked up a lighter shade. I had also heard people say that these were quite sheer, This one, I didn't really think so, but I also want to mention that this wore all day long. I think this is wonderful. I think be careful and only do one dot if you like to apply it directly to the face. Otherwise, put it on the back of your hand, work it into the brush a little bit, and then apply it to the cheeks, and I think you'll be really happy with that. This is a really, really lovely liquid blush. Coming in at number 8 are the new shades of the Charlotte Tilbury Beautiful Skin Island Glow Lip and Cheek, and I picked up Paradise Pink Glow and Beach Peach Glow. These names are really hard for me to pronounce, but these are so beautiful. One of my favorite cream blush formulas. It is a more sheer formula, so you can build it up, but it blends out so easily, so beautifully. They are a bit more emollient, so they feel a little bit more oily to the touch, but this is one that is actually beautiful on the lips and cheeks. I don't typically love lip and cheek duos because what works on the cheeks doesn't usually work on my lips, but this really actually does, and I think it looks so lovely. They just feel so balmy on the lips and look gorgeous on the cheeks and give a really beautiful glow. Coming in at number 7 is from Haus Labs, and this is their Color Fused Blush in Pomelo Peach. So I finally tried this formula. This came out last year, the year before, and then they redid them, and I'm only just trying them. I love this one. This is quickly becoming one of my very favorite peach blushes. I think it's so beautiful. It's definitely very pigmented, very powdery. There is definitely kick up with these, but they do look so beautiful on the cheeks. They're so easy to blend. They're stunning. So I really do like this. Coming in at number 6 is from Kosas, and this is their Blushes Life Baked Blush. I have the shade Swoon, and I think this is so beautiful. So I picked up this shade because it's a little bit different. I've been trying to lay off the peach blushes. So this is more of like a rosy mauve tone. And this is definitely a more glowy blush. If you look at it, you can sort of see these glitter particles, but on the cheeks, it's not straight glitter. It just gives a beautiful glow. This is nothing like the Rare Beauty powder blushes that are just so glowy. It's like putting a pink highlighter on your cheeks. This isn't that. This just gives you a really beautiful soft glow, and I think they look so pretty, and I think these are wonderful. If the Rare Beauty ones were too much for you, but you really liked the idea of a really pretty light glowy blush, I think the Kosas might be a great formula for you to try. Coming in at number 5 is yet another blush, and it is the one I have on today. This is from Lawless. This is the Pinch My Cheeks Soft Blur Cream Blush. I have the shade Angel, and I love this one. So this one is more like a rosy nude. I love this shade so much. This is a perfect everyday shade. This is one that just kind of goes with everything because to me, it looks more like the natural flush of my cheeks. And while this is a cream formula, there's something that when you're blending this on the skin, it kind of turns into a powder and it's just so beautiful. I absolutely love this. Again, it's just so beautiful and I love how it blends out. It's kind of like my perfect cream blush. I've really been loving this, and again, I love how my blush looks when I wear this. Coming in at number 4 is actually from Chanel, and this is their Le Beige Healthy Glow Sun-Kissed Powder, and I picked up Light Coral. So Chanel did come out with these this spring, and I believe there's about 5 different ones. This is the lightest one they have. So each of these had a highlight, a bronzer, and a blush. Now, I think this is very beautiful, and I've really been enjoying it. I will say these powders are a little bit more on the sheer side, which is kind of nice because they're quite buildable. And the way the pan size is so massive, it actually makes it quite easy to get to all 3 shades separately so you don't feel like you're accidentally grabbing the wrong thing. I think they did a really good job with this. This is really pricey. It is Chanel, but I have really loved this. This has been such a great go-to palette for me when I'm just trying to get it done really quickly. I will say the bronzer is a little bit more warm than I would personally love, but I still think it's beautiful and I can definitely make it work. That corally pink blush is gorgeous for summer. The highlighter is also really beautiful. It's probably about as gold as I would go on my skin without it being too deep, but I just think it's so beautiful. I really enjoyed playing with it. I love that the powders are sheer so I can sort of build them up to my own preference, to whatever I'm doing with my makeup that day. I really love that. This product is one that I'm going to get a lot of use and a lot of love out of for quite a long time. So while this was a bit of an investment piece, I regret absolutely nothing because I really love these. For my first experience with Chanel makeup, I was not disappointed. And coming in at number 3 is from Gucci, and this is their bronzing powder. I got this one, I think it might have been at the very end of May. They were having an insane sale, and the Gucci blushes and bronzers were like 50% off. So I did end up managing to secure the bronzer in the shade 1. If you are as fair as I am, this is almost the most perfect bronzer. So it does have a scent. Please keep that in mind. So if you hate scented makeup, definitely skip this. This is actually so beautiful. So I know this has been out for a while. The packaging is unmatched. It's beautiful. But what I love about the shade of this bronzer is that it does have a more pinky undertone to it. So for those of us who are very, very fair, that pinky undertone plays beautifully with the natural cool tones in our skin. So those of us who are super, super fair do tend to have a more cool undertone. And that pinky sort of undertone to the bronzer allows for it not to pull orange, but to kind of almost look like a natural sun-kissed bronze on our skin. It just looks so, so beautiful on fair skin. And anytime I find a bronzer that has that more pinky undertone, I'm just wild for it. I love it because of that reason. I think this is so beautiful. It is blendable. It is pigmented. I was a little surprised by how pigmented it is, but it's actually absolutely stunning. I love the packaging. I mean, you can't compete with this, but the formula is beautiful and blendable and easy to apply. It is pigmented, so you don't need a ton, which is nice because this is not cheap. The main thing for me is that this shade is one of the very best I have ever found for fair skin. Coming in at number 2 is from Natasha Denona. So I know I put her in the bottom twice today, but she is coming in at number 2 for something, so that's gotta count. This is the Golden palette, and I do love this. So I feel like the reception to this palette was quite split. Some people thought this was so boring and repetitive and, you know, easy to duplicate in your collection, and that's probably very, very true. And then I feel like those who loved it really loved it. And I think I really love it. I mean, I don't love it as much as the I Need a Nude, but these are staple colors for me. I'm not going to get as much use out of the yellowy gold shades that are in here because I don't tend to love those. But the rest of these shades are so beautiful and fun to play with. It's Natasha's formula, which is my favorite eyeshadow formula. The mattes blend themselves. I love working with them. The shade Cava is one of her chroma crystal shades, so it's incredibly sparkly. Nubia is one of her sparkling foiled, which is my top favorite formula from Natasha. I think everything in here is just really pretty. I do think that a lot of the looks are going to end up coming out very, very similar, so you have to know that it's kind of like the bronze palette. It looks like there's 15 different shades, but the looks are going to end up being similar at the end of the day. So if that is something that you do not like, then perhaps skip this palette. But I do still think it's stunning. I love the formulas in here. I love the color she chose. I love that there really isn't a ton of the yellow golds. It's really just that one intensely yellow gold, and the rest are quite easy to work with. And I just think everything is really stunning. So I really, really do love this palette. And my number 1 favorite product in the month of June, which was quite unexpected, is from Dior. And this is their monocolor single shadow in beige Mitza. I have this on today. So I did use one shade from the Wrong quad from NARS. And then I put this all over the lid. And I've done this so many times. I love this eyeshadow shade. I've also used this quite frequently with a matte in a Sigma palette. I just love it. I love the shimmer. I love that it's not too intense. I love that there's no fallout. I love how easy it is to work with. It's so silky. This is a shimmer that is not going to enhance texture because it's so smooth, but it is a bit thin. So while it is going to give you a beautiful sheen and shine to the lids, it's not going to enhance texture. It's just going to look really, really beautiful. This wears all day long. I love how it looks. I love the shade Beige Mitza because it's a perfect everyday shade, whether you're going to work, whether you're going out. I think it's a really, really beautiful everyday eyeshadow, and for that reason, I ranked it number 1. Is it way too expensive for a single shadow? Yes, but it is Dior, so I expected that. And given that this is a shade I would wear every single day, I think it kind of makes it a little bit more worth it. I wouldn't purchase one of these and one of their brighter, bolder shades because I'm just not going to get as much use out of it. Whereas Beige Mitza, has already been very, very well loved by me. But that is it. That is the very heavy month of June. Like I said, I tried out pretty much all of the makeup, but I had the absolute most fun. I was surprised to see some of my favorite brands in the bottom of my rankings, but sometimes that happens. So that is it for me today. Let me know down below what were some of your favorite products for the month of June, whether you bought new stuff, whether you were shopping your stash, what ended up being your favorite. Just let me know down below. I love hearing from you guys so much. If you're new here, I hope you'll consider subscribing before you go. I do upload new videos every single week. Thank you again so very much for watching, and I will see you in my next one. Bye!